Hello, welcome to my channel VibeCode Like a Champ. I'm your host Paul Pinto, and usually I'm here every week, 2 or 3 times a week, to tell you about this experience of vibe coding where I'm doing a real application, a fitness application, as an experience to using this amazing technology. I came from holidays. I was in Portugal for a couple of weeks. I spent the last week working, last almost week and a half working to improve and learning a lot of the news about the cloud and everything that they came out with that I talk you about. But before, just going to show, just follow me in my channel, my YouTube channel, and don't forget to like the videos. And I always post my videos also on the LinkedIn, my professional network, where you can see these videos also. And if you are a company or you need some information, if you need some help to get some information about how to vibe code or how I'm doing and so on, if you want some kind of consulting work, you don't have a problem, contact me and I will be able to help you. I have 2 topics for you today. And one topic is here what I'm going to show. It's already run, and I will talk to you about this in a second. The first thing is about the refactor that is being doing during all this week and a half after my holidays, a little bit of cleanup. What did I found it from all the vibe coding that I did it before with you, and you saw everything that I did it here. What I saw is even the code was running and working was unmaintainable. There was a lot of issues, and a lot of issues was because of me. And one of the big issues is that the cloud was hallucinating a lot and losing a lot of context, could not find things and so on. This is the consequence of letting my context fill up all the time, and I was losing information. It was awful, and because of that the code was during the day or during the filling up of the content, my code was getting worse and worse and worse. Not mine, but the code that was produced was getting worse. Even things that in the beginning was doing right, later he was already refactored to put it back and so on, and this, so on and so forth. And another thing was testing. The tests, we had a lot of tests using magic strings, and because of that, every time that I change anything, especially, it doesn't mean what, but if I change anything, I would have 500 tests failing because of it was asserting on magic strings. And I just remove all of that. I create a lot of documentation, say don't do this, do that. We have to think that Claude in this case, or any AI, coding AI, is like a kid's. It's even worse than a junior, lower than a junior. The junior, we said it once, we don't need to repeat it all the time. To Claude or to AI, we need to say the same thing over and over again in order for him to keep going in that direction. Otherwise, you'll start to do his own thing and being, let's put it in commas, creative. And this is precisely, this creativity was what leading to errors, because you would see this code and say, oh, why I have the code like this? Let's put here to nested if statements with 4 or 5 returns in this method, and I don't care about cyclomatic complexity. That's one of the things that I always take in consideration, and I don't care about that. I just need if here return, if here return, if here return, and done. And maintaining this code was getting very, very difficult as soon as the application started to grow and so on and so on. And you would see that if you were working with the junior. The difference is if you work with the junior, you're going to tell him, don't do this, let's do that. And for him, gets in his memory and will never forget anymore. With Claude, if we start with a new context, we need to give him again this information. And this information comes in a way of the documentation. Then I refactor how my documentation is structured, and I'll show you this, and how the code was, and even how to write the code with thousands of rules, not thousands, it's still hundreds of rules. And now we can find these rules much easier in a smaller context, because now I'm running with agents, and I will talk to you in a second. But let's see just what I want to talk to you about in this case. As you can see, I reduce my code in what I call a service validate, and in this case you will return service result, and here we'll kind of ensure that this is not an empty space. I have two. I have two. This. No, sorry. One for the name, one for the description. Ensure that it's not empty. The difficulty ID and so on. And with this kind of the validation, I was able to replicate everything in a better way, because everything will be validated, and then we'll say ensure name it is unique, and then I go and I use a call to the database to check that, and I use now a service. Before everything was together with the service, now the service will be in this folder called the data services, and I will have them here, and then I would say ensure that something is valid as valid, and will return kind of a boolean, and another valid, and will be as a kinetic chain is valid. There will be a lot of things here that we're going to try to ensure, and then in the end we match and we do something with it. If we're reaching this point and it's valid, everything is valid, he will execute this guy. Otherwise, we'll return what he already builds, all the errors. Having this kind of code, this more functional code, was very difficult for making Claude write me the code the way that I want. There was a lot of iterations, a lot of going back and forth with Claude. Now I don't want this, write this way, and he wrote this way. I said, now okay, how can we go back to documentation and show me this? And in the documentation, what did I put it there was I had my coding standards. But now my coding standards has a little bit calling guidelines. What I call it guidelines. Here is a little bit of a summary about what it's all about. For example, using the service results, service validated pattern, validation extension, clean validation pattern, positive validation. What I call about this positive validation is just to show you what I'm talking about. Here you would do ensure is valid, and then it will put here the negation of exists something, and it's very difficult to read. If we want to read, to just ensure that name is unique and carry that is exercise name unique. This is much easier to read. Even in English, this is a self-documented code. But now if we're going to put here negation this of that, and the name is exists a thing, it's very complicated, and when we look directly to the code we cannot see it right away what could be the problem. And this is what we did it I did this, and here I'm going to have my guidelines called guidelines, and now I have several separate files where you can find, oh, I want to do the service result. Okay, there's a different file that does that, instead of reading a huge file of coding standards that was already getting too big to do that. And this was a major refactor that I've done here. And another thing that I've done with with all of this was creating agents. What is agent? Just giving a little. If you are seeing this, you already know about agents in Claude for sure. An agent will just spin off some extra tasks that will be outside of my main agent context, and will execute that task with a clean context, and it will not pollute my initial context, and just giving me the result of what that agent did. And what I created here, basically I create a lot of agents, but I want to talk to you briefly about these two agents that I created here, the feature pre-validator and the feature pro-validator. Because when we create a feature, if you remember, I had some kind of start refining feature. Remember that I had a slash command called refining feature or start implementing feature, and this slash command would come from moving to submit to ready to develop, and then that will move the ready to develop to in progress, and so on, so on. If you remember, we already went through this. What I did now was, because now I have this agent with a smaller context, I say, okay, let's refine it. Let's create here the task file. But is this task file enough? If you are a developer already, if you go to this refinement tool, refinement meetings, and the PO, the product owner will ask, is there any more information that you need about this task? Is everything that you need to implement this task is there? All these things. We ask that, but Claude is not asking that. We need to provide them this information to him. And what I've done here is say, now I want to move this, and I still have it here, my slash command. Where is it, the command? The start implementing. And the start implementing will be moving this to the in progress. And but I had no validation. It was just moving to it and doing. And what I did was creating what I said, this pre-validator, feature pre-validator, and you will do a lot of things. You will look for no ambiguities in the code, if everything is necessary that I need to implement. Imagine, I think I have it here, something like, imagine that you are a developer, you are specialized feature, you are all a senior developer performing through readiness review before any feature can transition to ready to develop. This is very important, because now I have this agent that will look to each one of the tasks that were created and look to it and say, do I have everything that I need to implement this? Do I need to let's see it, do I have the information about the table, or do I have the information about how the endpoint will look like, information that goes back and forth from the endpoint? Do I have that information? Or if I don't provide this information, you will create something. You will be creative, but we don't want to be creative. We want him to have all the information, because everything here needs to be as much deterministic as possible and not non-undeterministic. We have to be deterministic as possible. Then what he has to do is say, oh no, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this information. And this is very, very important to understand, to try to validate it, what we have. And the second task, I didn't even reach this guy yet. The second agent will be, okay, now we're going to make now that we have everything that we needed, now we're going to put estimations on it, and we're going to create a branch, we're going to move we're going to make all the estimation if the task, subtask, the phase, and so on. We're going to do all of that. We're going to make sure that all the checkpoints are there. It's more about now that we have all the content, now let's see if we have all the file is all well structured. The tasks file is very well structured. And then I can move it and make sure that I run the L check in the beginning, all the tests, make sure that everything is zero building warnings, zero building errors. And this is very important, and all the things that I need to see and all the things that we need to say no. We don't go further if this happens. And what I did it with the task this is the monster that I created now. I created for this task. This is all about this linking of the exercises with cooldowns, warm-ups, and even alternative exercises. I didn't thought initially about the alternative exercise. Now I'm adding that. That's why this is an enhancement of the exercise link. And he found, don't worry about this error, this is a building error. It was a problem that I had in my system, but now this is the same, but I didn't run again. But you're going to be able to see that there's, for example, what part is incomplete, database tasks incomplete, business of logic tasks incomplete, the API tasks are incomplete, the test tasks, there's not enough tests, it was not creating enough tests in my tasks. Tasks, when I say tests, it's just this gherkin test given when then to all the cases. It was not well, the acceptance criteria of the task are not well defined. And then all the things that is critical that we need to finish, all the things are missing. And now I should go and fix all of those things, and then we will be able to pass and I will be able to start implementation, and with all the information that he needs to implement it without guessing. And the best thing will be always inside the agents without a polluted context, and with a clean context, and not polluting the main context of the agent, the main agent that I'm running Claude. And this is quite interesting. And just to finish, this is where I run when I do the start implementation. He found all these things, he figured it out, all the things. He run my agent, and he started to find out that there was a lot of things that were failing before he started. See this as this meeting that you have with your PO, and you look to the PO and say, oh, this is not well defined, go back and go refine, go do your job, and then bring me everything done, everything well defined after. And this is what this agent is doing, and we're going to be able to create agents for code review in the future, different kind of code review, architecture code review, code review, flow code review, if all the tests are there. We're going to be able to do agents for everything that will be very meticulous, very detailed, and very focused in certain points of our code, making our code better for sure. I'm leaving you now. I'm going to see if I can, I will try to fix all of this, and I hope that I will be able to move this to the implementation and show that to you in the next video. Okay, see you next time, and we are vibe coding like a shame. Don't forget that.